Well, good morning, folks. We'll be going live in approximately, well, 4 minutes and 48 seconds till I get the rest of the things set up here this morning. So I thought I'd do this start a little bit differently. So, hi, Linda, you're here. Hi, Joyce. You just ordered the Nerd Hoops from Amazon. Oh, that is awesome. Missy from Denmark, welcome. Glad you're here. And Debbie, glad you're here. Geez, this is kind of a different way for me to do my live stream. So thought we'd try it, see how it goes. How are you all this morning? I'm putting my Sir Frederick Frosty in the Patoki stand so that I can stitch a little bit with you this morning. So I hope you're all going to grab your favorite beverage, pick up your stitching, and stitch along with me today. So let's see. Who else is here this morning? Let's see. So we're going to be working on Sir Frederick Frosty today. And, well, we'll talk about that once the live stream starts. So, yeah. I'm glad to see you ordered the Nerd. Joyce, did you order the one like I have that I just put in my stand, the square plastic? Or did you order the wooden ones? There we go. Oh, it's 4 o'clock in Denmark. Holy smokes. Hi, Autumn. Welcome to the stream. Glad you're joining us today. Missy, it's 4 o'clock in Denmark. My goodness. I'll tell you what, it just totally amazes me how people from all over the world join into this, and golly. Well, good morning, Kelly. How are you this morning? I'm stitching on Frosty today. I hope I get a decent amount of stitches in for the what are we doing? Adventure course? I mean Jennifer Kelly, no wonder. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Jen and I are both in that Survival of the Stitchiest group, so we have lots of stitches to get in so that we can survive. So far, we're doing good. Hi, Linda. I see your wave. When we move on to my other screen, you'll be able to see the comments in the on the screen. Right now, I'm just seeing them in my comment section, so that's kind of different. Well, hi, Gail. Yes, it is a great day to stitch, but then again, isn't every day a great day to stitch? Just my opinion. I stitch almost every day unless there's something special going on. Good morning, Stitchy Woman. How are you this morning? Glad you're joining us today. Wow, we're getting quite a few people here this morning. That's just wonderful. And we will be live in less than a minute. And this screen will go away and we will pop up another screen. So I'm learning new things all the time with the software that I use to live stream. So we're trying some different things here to see how it goes. Yeah. Always, well, isn't that my thing? Always to be trying something new and trying to learn something new. So what better way to do it than to play around with my streaming software? I use Ecamm Live as opposed to a lot of people use OBS. I really found this software. Well, good morning, Angel. Oh, Missy, you love the lives. Oh, thank you so much. Well, let's just switch here because now we are live. So I am glad. And now you should be able to see your comments on the screen. And yeah, I might have to play around a little bit with my camera to, okay, I'm zoomed in as far as this will go. Oh, this is always the challenge for me. Always the challenge. Let's try this a little bit. Aha. Always the challenge. Can I ever start a stream where things are set up perfectly when we start? Does that ever happen? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'm always trying to adjust. Aha, aha. Oh, does that do it? How is our focus? Oh my goodness. Let's see. Can you see them? Can we see what, Linda? Good morning, Debbie from Texas. Yamir, good morning. How are you this morning? I'm glad you're joining us today. Oh, great. Guess what I didn't bring? I have everything here except what I need. My chart. Oh, what was I thinking? Ah, here we go. Yamir, I'm still testing out your silks to see which one I like. And while I think about it, while you're here and I think about it, I wanted to mention you were asking about other types of silk in your last video, were you not? And you might want to contact Vicki Clayton of Hand-Dyed Fibers. Linda says, what's delayed? Vicki Clayton of Hand-Dyed Fibers is doing floss again. And she, at one time before, had a very fine, a very thin silk that she produced and dyed. So you may want to get in contact with her. She's on Etsy, and I believe she's on Facebook if you look up Hand-Dyed Fiber Fanatics. And then you can ask her if she's still doing the fine floss. She had a name for it, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, let's see. Linda, what's delayed? I'm not understanding. It looks like other people are here. Angela, you wanted to ask me what happened to Teresa. Teresa Little Stitcher? She's had some, and this is all her story to tell, but she's had some personal problems. I don't know if all of you have heard that her mother is ill, so she's been taking care of her mom. She did say a little bit about it on the last video that she produced. Let me think. Yeah, her last video, she talked about not doing a video for a while because her mother, she had just a lot of personal things going on with her mom, and actually with her hip. I haven't talked to her for a little bit, so I'm wondering if she's even postponed her surgery to have her hip fixed. So, I mean, we all knew that she was having trouble with that. So she is okay. Um, she's just really busy to really busy to be able to post a video at this point in time. So everybody, keep thinking about her, and I'm sure, well, I hope, because I do miss her, I hope that she will be back at some point in time. Well, hello, Pat from northern Minnesota. I'm so glad you're here today. Vanessa, just popping in to say hi. Well, I'm glad you popped in. Welcome. I hope you can stay and visit for a while. Grab your favorite beverage and your stitching, and soon I'll start stitching. Teresa, hello. I'm glad you're here. Pat, good morning. Linda, it says you need to wait 1 minute before posting. I guess, sorry, I'm still learning. It's not you. Oh, it might be because I slowed down the posts a bit. So it might have people waiting to post so that they don't flip by me so fast and I miss everybody or miss some. Ghislaine, good morning. Good morning. And Nicole, good morning. Glad you're all here this morning. Well, this is wonderful. This is just wonderful. I'm going to stitch on Sir Frederick Frosty, which is a Heaven and Earth design. It's the design I'm doing for my it's a design I'm making for my daughter. And then when I finish this one, I'll be making one. Oh, there they are. Need my other set of eyes. I'll be making one for my son-in-law. Let's get a little more light here. Here we go. Let's see. So we need to. Do I need to stitch a little bit while I'm here? So I guess you guys see that this all is looking quite different again. Yeah. Hello, Karen. When is she not doing something just a little bit different? I gotta just adjust this a smidge. So I hope it isn't going to mess up your view. So pardon me for making you a little seasick there. Oh, Nicole, you bought the Nerd Square hoop. Look, that's what I have. That's what I have this in today. Do I do a pin stitch on 32 count? You can. You can do a pin stitch on 32 count, but you have to split the fabric threads in order to do that. My suggestion is, if you want to try that, get yourself some chenille needles, because chenille needles are very sharp, and you need the sharpness in order to split the threads in the fabric. What I do more often is just do, instead of a full pin stitch, just take my thread carry my working thread about 3, 4, maybe 5 fabric threads away, and then just do like a tacking stitch. And then bring the thread to the front and clip it off so that there's just a little bitty tacking stitch in there. And that way, the tacking stitch is enough to hold that little length of floss in place until you're able to stitch over it. And then that stitching over it secures it. That way, you don't have a bunch of threads hanging on the front. Um, yeah, it kind of makes me a little crazy to have all those threads hanging on the front. Um, so you just have maybe a little short. And when I get finished with this length of floss, I will show you. Okay, I just need to figure out where I'm starting here. 3, 1. Okay, I did those two. Um, what I'm doing here is I'm giving Stitching Mommy's method a try. You know, she did a pretty lengthy Nicole. Your eyes are going to pop out of your head if you have a bunch of threads on the front. Oh, I know the feeling. It makes me anxious. It makes me a little crazy. Now, my Patokia is a little bit loose here, so it may be jiggling like this a little bit. I will try very hard to keep it still. And I need to just give myself a little bit more light. So I hope that isn't messing with you guys. Yeah, isn't it amazing what we do or don't do to make our stitching work for us? Yeah, I I I I really enjoyed the diagonal method. I really did, and it really has a whole lot of advantages. Absolutely. Um, yeah, absolutely. Uh, and I don't fault it at all. And I tried it. I did a lot of stitching with it, and I am a big advocate of it, as you guys all are well aware. Uh, but like everybody else, or a lot of other people, I also enjoy trying other methods. And, it's good to try other methods. And in a sense, it can be dangerous to try other methods because then what happens? Oh, I think I like this better. Then another one comes along. And then you go, oh, I think I like this better. And really, in all honesty, the method I use at any given time really is dependent upon my mood of the moment. Just kind of how it is. So I think the last time we had a stitch with me, I was doing the color complete within the diagonal, which is similar to Stitching Mommy, except that you just stay within those 10 stitches, which is also very fine. Absolutely very fine. Um, and I enjoy that also. And then I tried Stitching Mommies, and I really kind of like that. Missy, just like you, I have always been a cross-country stitcher. Always. Prior to experimenting with all the ways of stitching a heaven and earth design, I have I always stitch cross country. And I talked about that a bit in my last live session of how back in the cave days I stitched my Crafts by Barbara and Cheryl. And I'm not going to go into that all again because that's on a previous video, and if you're really interested, you can go back and watch that one. Um, and this method is quite, in a sense, different but similar. And, we're always, all of us are usually worried about column lines or grid, page lines and all of that. And in all honesty, with this method, you don't have that. You don't have that. You're not going to get those lines. Donna Lemos, good morning. How are you? Long time, long time. Oh, I'm so glad you had a chance to catch me live. That's wonderful. How is everything? Scarlet's Starlet Stitcher. I wanted to call you Scarlet Stitcher. You change your method too. Yeah, don't we all? Yeah, and I'm not real crazy about the parking either. I just all those threads, they just make me a little goofy. Okay, I know it's a short trip, but they make me a little goofy. Autumn. Yes, I buy. Well, I do both. If I happen to have pre-gridded fabric on hand, I will use that if it's the count that I want. Um, I happen to have some 20 count Ada, which is what I'm stitching on this, or stitching this on. And I just, rather than buy some, I thought, let's use what we have. And I use a Bohin ceramic pencil and gridded it myself. It's no big deal. I just grid sections as I go, and I'm fine. I'm fine with that. And I like the ceramic pencil as opposed to those blue water soluble markers, because sometimes I've seen the water soluble not wash out completely, whereas the ceramic does. And a lot of times, in fact, you can see here, because I've gridded, let me push this front. See, I've actually gridded all the way down to the bottom of this hoop. And see how the lines are fading because of my hand rubbing over them. So if they're fading just because I'm rubbing over them, we know that they're not gonna show through on once my piece is completed. And that's always another worry. Okay, let me catch up. Extreme cross country, Nicole. Yes, I did try that one time. No, two times. And that just gives me the willies. It gives me the willies because I'm afraid even with gridding, I'm afraid I'm going to miscount. And I have in the past miscounted with that. So that's a lot for me. My thinking is that's a lot to risk. Like what if you finish all of 3 colors and you're counting off of whatever that color was that you did maybe the most of, and or that had the most stitches, and you've miscounted somewhere, then that's going to throw everything off. Absolutely everything. So that just gives me a little bit of a nervous thing. Typewriter. Oops, sorry. I keep bumping this. I have to get it low enough so that you guys can see, but then it's kind of in my way, but that's okay. It's good. It's good. We'll get there. Oh, do you hear my cats? They're arguing. Maybe you can't hear them. I can. They're arguing. And Remy carries a felt ball around and makes these really whiny noises. So if you hear that, that's what it is. He gets a little nuts sometimes. Let's see, where were we? Joyce, typewriter method. Stitching Mommy's one of her very last videos that she put up. I don't think it's this last one. I think it's the one before. She explains it. And what she does is, okay, let me see if I can show you on my chart. What she does is she looks at her chart, okay, and she goes across and says, okay, this is my highest stitch that isn't completed. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows down, and there's 2 stitches here. So if you look across, here's one I missed. So she'll go the first stitch that's 4 rows down, which is over here. She'll pick that color and she'll stitch it until her thread runs out, or there's no more of that color. After she's done that, then she'll go to this next stitch. So she reads her chart, each line, like you would type on a typewriter. Okay, so she would go to this stitch and stitch all of that color until her thread runs out. When her thread runs out, or there are no more, then she'll go back. Now I have all of this filled in over here. She'll go back and she'll go she'll go 5 lines down and find the first stitch that's on that row and stitch all of that color until her thread runs out, or there are no more, or it's too far away. So those of us that are from the typewriter days will understand that. Those of you who never really worked on a typewriter, think of it as you're typing in Word, and as you type, you're going across the line, and then when that line is full, it comes down here to the next line and goes across. Same thing. So that's how she picks her color that she's going to stitch. That's not how she stitches. So she doesn't pick that color and then, okay, stitch this stitch and then go across over here and stitch that stitch. And, she doesn't jump around by the line. She just picks her color by the highest stitch that is not stitched. And if there's everything in the rows above is stitched, then she will pick the first color in that particular row that is not stitched. Okay? And then after she picks that color, then she just follows it however it makes sense to follow the color. So that's basically the typewriter method. I rather am enjoying it. I rather like it. So let's see. Nicole, you're never getting 32 count again. Don't like 32 count? Teresa, you use floss bobbins to corral your park threads you're not using. Yes. Yeah. A lot of people use floss bobbins, or they get those bobbies that you can wrap your thread in and then it closes. I'll tell you what I did when I was doing some parking is my sewing machine bobbins. Yeah, they're metal. I have metal sewing machine bobbins. So I would wrap my thread around the sewing machine bobbin and then just put a magnet on the other side, and then that would just hold it right there and keep them out of the way. But I tell you what, even those dangly things, whether it's a floss bobbin, a sewing machine bobbin, or the bobbies, they were making me crazy too. It's just a short trip to crazy. Autumn, you want to do a full coverage, but you're not sure about starting? It makes you a little nervous. What makes you nervous, dear? Because we are here to help you. We are absolutely here to help you. Um, we'll get you started. And if you keep watching here, which I hope you do, we will keep supporting you because that's what this channel does. I am here to give you all my little tricks that I learned over the years, which they may or may not help you, so you take it for what it's worth. And hopefully what you find here more than anything is support and encouragement, because that's what we're all about here. We want to support your stitching because it's a hobby, it's fun, it's something we enjoy. And we want to encourage you so that, you know what, if you're having something's not making sense, or something, you don't know how to do something, or you're a little bit anxious about it, we're here to help you through that. Absolutely, to help you through that. Because you know what? This, I think I had on the one intro little movie that I did. We are artists. We are artists. And I had a little thing on there that says, I'm an artist in residence, with all the pandemic stuff, because I don't go to many places at this point in time. And it's getting a little better, and that's okay. But needlework is an art. Absolutely an art. And there are so many types of needlework out there. I did the sessions not too terribly long ago on hardanger embroidery, because it's something that you don't see all that often, and I don't hear of a lot of people doing. And we want to keep these things alive. We don't want them to get lost. We want the younger generation to learn and to do these things. So yeah, we're here to support you. So well, you know what, Autumn, in a full coverage piece, let me say this. Yeah, you want your gridding to be correct. Absolutely. That is a given. And that may be for your first piece. Buy pre-gridded fabric. You can buy it on several places. You can buy it on 123 Stitch. You can buy it right from Heaven and Earth, and they'll cut it right to the size that you need. So I would suggest, for your first piece, don't try to grid it yourself. Buy a piece of pre-gridded fabric. And it's one stitch at a time. It's one stitch at a time. So if your count is off, and I did that, I was working on pandemic, and my count was off by one blooming stitch, just one. And I ended up having to, because of the nature of that chart, it's all different borders put together, and to fudge that, it would have been very difficult, because it would have thrown off all those borders down the whole side of the piece. So for that, I had to fudge. I had to rip. Now, I don't know if you heard my story about my one chart of Crafts by Barbara and Cheryl. Um, I can't remember which one it was. It was either Queen Street Alley or South Battery View. But both of them had um, a building on this side and something else on this side of the fabric. And in between here, it was just a lot of sky. So I had done this building over here, and I was doing the sky and counting over to whatever, I don't remember whatever structure, it was either a gazebo or something on this side. And in this area, I put one stitch too many, just one. And I had already done a lot on this side. So it was when I got down to where that sky is ending, that's where I noticed I was off. So that if I would have decided to frog it, I would have had to frog everything on this side of the graph. So it was a full coverage piece. So what I decided to do, and you can easily do this in a full coverage piece, absolutely. Even in Frosty, if I would have miscounted somewhere, I would fudge it. Because what you can do, and what I did on my paper chart was, when I looked down the chart, I picked a spot in that sky that was relatively not significant. Okay, wasn't going to make a big difference down here at the bottom. And what I did is I drew a yellow line through one stitch from the top of the chart all the way to the bottom of the chart. One stitch, because that's how much I was off, one stitch. If I would have been off more than one, say 2, I would have drawn 2 yellow lines, and I would have spaced them away from each other, not right together, but spaced them away a little bit. So what I did then is every time I got to that stitch that was highlighted in yellow, I stitched it twice. So I added that stitch the rest of the way down the chart. No one was ever the wiser. I can't even tell today which stitch it was that I stitched twice. So when you're doing a full coverage, you can fudge a little bit. It's not that, and it turns out it's relatively insignificant. No, I can't tell today where it was. No one has ever noticed it. So I'm cool by that. Cool by that. So don't be afraid of miscounting, but there is always something we can do. Okay. So I hope that helps. Starlet Stitcher, you're the master fudger. I like that term. Stitching Julia, or Stitchy Julia, good morning. Glad you're here. So Autumn, you need to start. We will help you. Absolutely, we will help you. Teresa, yes, I saw those silicone hair curlers on Amazon, and yeah, they would absolutely work the same way. Good morning, Yvonne. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're here today. Making sure the gridding's correct and the count is right. Okay, we talked about that a little bit. Yeah. Full coverage is very fun. Absolutely, Starlet. You just take one stitch at a time. And absolutely, focus on a small section. Yeah. Even this typewriter method, you don't have to do it across the whole piece. Okay. Even if you're stitching on the diagonal, you are only looking at 10 stitches. 10 stitches wide that go diagonally down your piece. It's a small area. It and even if you're doing cross country within that diagonal, you're still only looking at a space that's 10 stitches wide, and you just follow it down to, if you want to go the whole length of the chart, that's great. If you just want to go the length of a page, awesome. Then you go back to the top, start the next one, and work 10 stitches wide all the way down. So if you limit the area, it takes some of that fear away. It's not quite as scary. Oh, Missy, the first 100 stitches where it made you the most nervous. Now you can't get enough. Good for you. Good. It's just getting past that beginning. Hello, Robin. Thanks for joining. Sheila, hello. You're not late. Nobody's late. Just jump right in. Absolutely, Autumn. We are artists. Even though we're stitching somebody else's work or design, we are still artists. Absolutely. Pre-gridded fabric. It comes in, I think 20 count would be where it starts. So, oh no, wait, I lie. It comes in 14 count. It comes in 18 count. It comes in 20 count, 25, 28, and 32. I believe I'm correct in that. I think. I hope I'm not fibbing to you. The 14 is the one I'm not quite sure of, but I know it definitely comes in 18, 20, 25, 28, and 32. Oh, Robin, since November you have 2 finishes and 19 works in progress. Good for you. Now let me ask you, does having that many works in progress give you the willies? If I get too many works in progress, it makes me a little bit nuts. So right now I'm trying to focus on 2. I'm focusing on Frosty and I'm focusing on Pandemic. And every once in a while I may pick up something different, but these are the 2 main ones that I work on. Oh, Nicole, that's great. You taught your girls to stitch. Awesome. Fabulous. That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And hopefully they will continue on to do that. I tried to teach my daughter. Operative word, tried. And she can do it. She knows how, at least knows how. But no, it's not quick enough for her. She's one of those people that needs more instant gratification. Not something that takes 6 months, a year, 2 years, however long. She needs the instant gratification. Yeah, 32 count, Robin. It does come. You can get that from, I believe, Heaven and Earth has 32 count. Good morning, Jody. How are you this morning? I'm glad to see you here. Autumn, no, you don't need to have Pattern Keeper. You can stitch from paper if you desire. I would suggest, though, if you stitch from paper, you can do the same method, but highlight your stitches I think one of the easiest ways to do it is highlight your stitches with maybe a yellow marker, a yellow highlighter. After you stitch it, mark it with a blue highlighter so that it turns green, so that you know everything that is then green has been stitched. When you get to go to the next symbol, do the same thing again. Highlight it with yellow so it pops out, and then highlight it with blue to know that, so that it turns green, you know that you stitched it. Using that method, I would absolutely suggest stick to a small area. You may want to limit yourself to, say, 4 blocks wide by 4 blocks high. And just stitch within that area until you get more comfortable. Now, if you are an Apple person, if you have an iPhone, an iPad, a Mac, well, I don't think it comes on the computer, but if you have a tablet or a phone, there is a program out there called Markup XR or something to that effect. And that is very, very similar to Pattern Keeper, and it works on iOS and it works on Android. That might be an option for you because it works the same way, basically the same way. There are some differences, and one does a little bit more than the other, but for a person that uses Apple products, it's a great alternative to Pattern Keeper. And what that would let you do is highlight your symbol and mark it off when it's stitched. You can still do that. There's another one on an iPad. GoodNotes. Thank you, Robin. GoodNotes. And I believe GoodNotes lets you search. I'm not 100% sure, but Robin, maybe you can fill her in on that. But there are alternatives out there, if you have the PDF of the chart, to be able to put it into a PDF reader and stitch from that. Christine, you're stitching Sir Frederick also. Oh, awesome. Well, we could stitch together. What do you think? Are you further than I am? This is the lamp on the post, and this is finishing his hat, and then I'll get into his head. So I'm working my way down. A good full coverage pattern to start with, Autumn, is the one you love. Pick a pattern you love. Because if you just pick one just to pick one and get started, the likelihood is you're going to give up. If you pick a pattern that you absolutely love, you'll keep going. Let me see. I don't know that I have a picture of it in here anymore. I don't. But can I get it? Can I get one? Let's see. Image. Okay. Oh. Did my screen go funny? It might have. Here we go. Oh, not that. Not that. Not that. I'll be back in a minute. Here we go. Okay, let's shrink that down a little bit. Here we go. This was my very, very first Heaven and Earth design. It is Stitcher's Retreat by Heaven and Earth. It is no longer available. It was a freebie. But what happened was I fell in love. Now, this picture is my finished frame piece. It hangs in my living room. It hangs in my living room. I spent a total of 5 years stitching it. In the beginning, I started it in, and here I'm not stitching. Why do I always end up talking more than stitching? Oh, you guys. I started it in November of that particular year, and I can't remember which one it was. But then in December, I put it away because I made Christmas stockings for my grandkids. So each of the kids, I spent a year making those stockings. So that was a year out of those 5 that this did not get stitched on. Then I picked it up again and I alternated between this and other projects for maybe a year and a half. After that, I concentrated solely on this piece because I was on a mission. I love it. I wanted it done. I wanted it hanging in my living room, and I worked on nothing but this piece for a little over a year until I had it finished. Yeah, I did. Well, when I started doing that, I was at about not quite at 50% finished. So in that little over a year, I stitched 50% of this because I was on a mission. I was absolutely on a mission. So my best advice to you is pick a project that you love, because that way you're going to finish it. That way you're going to finish it. Many stitchers find using Pattern Keeper easier, but you don't have to. Yes, you do your HAIDs from hard copies, but you get the large format because it's easier on your eyes. Absolutely. Absolutely. The regular format, if you're not going to put it in some kind of a PDF reader, it is a bit difficult, a little bit difficult to read and to follow. So yeah, I think you're right, Starlet. The large format would be the way to go. 32 count is hard because I feel like I have to push the needle through too much thread on the back. Yes. Yeah. I agree. The other thing I would suggest though is look at your technique. Who was it? Is she here today? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. But she posted, I think it was either on Instagram or I think it was Instagram, where her back of her piece, she only had like maybe the top corner, the first or second diagonal done, and the top of her piece was just so thick with thread. And people, in fact, I even talked about it on my last live stream, and we gave her suggestions of, she was already using a loop start. We gave her suggestions on how to end her threads. But the biggest suggestion I think that made a difference for her was, I had said to her, cross your stitches one at a time. Don't necessarily go this across with the first leg and come back crossing with the second leg. Cross your X's as you go. And then what she was doing is, if she finished over here on this side of the block, or on this side of her diagonal of 10, she would bring her thread back over here to the left side to start again, instead of working her way down by finding the next closest stitch. once she switched those things around, it reduced the bulk on the back for her and made it that she didn't have as much thread back there to yes, Jen. She didn't have as much thread back there to have to pierce through because she wasn't doing all that carrying. So if you can look at a way to reduce the thread carries, it may be easy. You might not have as much bulk to work through. So I would just say, look at that and check that out and look, is there something that you could think about doing a little bit differently? And if you need help with that, Nicole, just let us know. Yeah, Starlet, yeah, exactly what I said. Just make sure you really, really, really like the design. Yeah. Autumn, you're almost done with the May Prairie Schooler. Good for you. Oh, Robin, you have a good rotation system. Awesome. Awesome. I just, I don't know that I'm that great with rotating. I kind of get hung up. Let's see. Markup RXP. Yes, Jen. Thank you. That's the name of it. Robin, you found it to be too cumbersome. Okay. And what works for some doesn't work for everybody. So you know what? Keep searching till you find a way that works for you. Christine, you're 15% done with frosting. Okay, then I am a little bit ahead of you. I'm at 23, almost 23 and a half. So my goal, it might be a delusion and not a goal. My goal is to finish it somewhere around June so that I can start my son-in-law's and hopefully have that finished for Christmas so that they can both have theirs for Christmas. So we shall see. We shall see. If I would come on here and actually stitch instead of just yak, which I don't know, I like to do that just as much. See, and then I go back to stitching and I kind of sort of lose my place. I don't quite know where I'm at. Oh, there I am. No, that's wrong. I think I should get my magnifier instead of these glasses, but neither here nor there. Wrong place. Yeah, if I'd stitch more, I'd get more done. But when I'm not doing lives or I'm not recording, I do get a fair amount done in a day's time. And since I'm using this method, I really have been getting more done than what I was getting working in diagonals. Okay, let's see. See, and then this happens. Then I go to stitch and I get so far behind on comments. Yes, Yvonne, I used Pattern Keeper. Absolutely. I've been using Pattern Keeper ever since it came out. A trick for using satin floss. To be perfectly honest, Missy, I have not used satin floss. One suggestion that I would have for you to try is make it damp. Like just run it over a damp sponge before you stitch with it and see if that doesn't tame it down a little bit, for lack of a better way to put it. I do that with metallic threads. I just run them through a damp sponge, and those I find, some may not agree with me and some may not think that's a good thing to do, and that's okay. But what worked for me was to keep it damp while I was stitching with the metallic, because then I had more control over it. Like, I could get it to lay nicer than if I just stitched with it right off the spool. So I would say you could try that and see if that makes a difference for you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't use things like Thread Heaven, and I don't use beeswax for me. And again, it's your own personal choice and what works for you. I am not advocating them, and I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, for myself, I found that especially the beeswax left a film on my thread. Even though I ran it lightly through, it left a film on my thread. And there was a place in Stitcher's Retreat that I could see a difference in the thread color where I used beeswax and where I didn't use beeswax. So again, it is your own personal choice. I'm just saying, for myself, it's not something that I prefer to use. I would much rather just take a damp sponge and run my thread over a damp sponge and do it that way. I think that gives me just as much control as in fact, I think it gives me more control than putting beeswax. Autumn, are Heids really expensive? I wouldn't say they're any more expensive than any other chart out there. I really wouldn't. If you look at, say, Scarlet Quince or Golden Kite, you're going to really be spending a lot more money than you are for a Heaven and Earth design. And Heaven and Earth designs by no means are the only full coverage out there. There are many other companies that offer full coverage charts. So it's a matter of look around, find what you like. There is Scarlet Quince, there is Golden Kite, there's Cross Stitch Collectibles, there's Charting Creations, there's Pain Free Crafts. There's a lot of other design companies that have full coverage. So bottom line, look around, find one you love. Aha, Robin, you just found some tricks like loop starting on the front. Yup. Yup. Nicole, 32 count is supersized. Oh, fairy tale shelf. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I don't blame you for switching to half stitches. Oh my goodness. You would also say to go for a smaller size needle. Yes. Good point, Ymir. Good point. Yes. Because you would have to come up in a dirty hole. Not all brands are the same size. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Your needle will also make a difference. Your needle is one of your most important tools out there. So find a needle that you like, that works for you. In all honesty, I like the ballpoint needles. John James makes a ballpoint needle, like a size 10 or a size 12. But I like, see if you can see it here. These ones, can you see it? It has just that little ball on the end. And Sullivan puts them out. I think they call them, it's a little hard to see. I think they call them easy guide needles. Um, Especially when you're stitching like this, where, as Ymir said, you're coming up in dirty holes. What I find is this needle does not pierce your threads that are already in there. It kind of slips between them, and you're not distorting the stitch by splitting the thread that's already existing. I think it makes a much cleaner cross stitch. But again, it's finding what you like. The downside to that, to this particular needle, is when you're ending your thread, to work your threads under, like if you're flipping over and going under a couple stitches in the back, then I find it hard, because of that ball on the end, to get through those stitches on the back. Now, on 20 count, it's not too bad. I can easily, let's bring you in here. See, I can easily split that block on 8 o'clock. However, take you back out. However, on, say, a 25 or a 32 count, that doesn't work so well. So that's when maybe you want to find a chenille needle, because they are sharper, or some sort of a sharper needle, in order to be able to split those threads. But I find I rather enjoy the easy guide. And if you, I'm pulling you in here a little bit again. If you look, I think my stitches all look pretty good. There's no I don't notice any split threads. I don't know what's going on there. I got to look. But I'm happy with my stitching using this particular needle. So again, to each their own. Have I ever stitched a design using 2 strands for a dark color and 1 strand? No, I have not. I really am a 1 strand kind of girl. I really don't like stitching. I don't like stitching with 2 strands. Yes, Yvonne, Haid has sales. And yeah, good idea. Maybe start with a mini chart. They aren't as large as the regular ones. Christine, you're doing the diagonal 10 by 10 squares. Yes, and that is another popular method. Absolutely. Absolutely. Damp sponge, Teresa, you use a damp sponge as well. Yes. See, that's what I was finding, Teresa. It was leaving a residue. And I just didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Oh, Autumn, I was the one who showed you how to do a loop start on the front. Well, good. Absolutely good. No way. Robin, no way. The exact same shirt. Isn't that... Oh, well, what I'm going to say to that is great minds think alike, don't they? How cool is that? Oh, Stitchy Woman, you are also right there. You are also correct. Minis can have a lot of confetti. So I think you have to weigh how much time you want to give a project versus how much confetti you want to put up with. Eh, 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 eh. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. The other thing you want to look at, and I will, I don't know if I should say this or not say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yeah, loop start is wonderful, isn't it? Heaven and Earth, what did they call it? Let me back out here. Heaven and Earth. Okay, I have to find it. Has a design, and I think they called it Hates. Let me find it. Of course, when you want to find something, it's never where you think it is. Is that not true? I guess. Okay, it's not there. Let's try. Give me a second. QRS. Well, I can't find it. It's on this tablet somewhere. I think it's called the Billet, Billet, by Heaven and Earth. And it's that girl in the blue dress standing in front of bookshelves that really is very much like my Stitcher's Retreat, the same kind of style. And I believe it's by the same artist. Let's do it this way. Go, go, go. Aww. Yeah. It would be coming at you. It would be this one. Okay, sorry for the glare. Oops. There we go. So this is Heaven and Earth. All right. And this is a mini called The Library. Okay. Now, I started stitching that. But when I was stitching, and this is my point here, in here, these, the grain of the wood, it didn't have the definition. Everything was kind of smushing together. Okay, so that you couldn't see the definition in this. Now this particular, don't look at that price because that's for the diamond painting. This is just a picture of this is what I want you to look at, the picture of it. So what I did is I went to Charting Creations. And wait, how do I search on here? People and portraits, maybe. Anyway, I went to Charting Creations and found the same design. And it wasn't a mini, it was a regular size. And when I stitched that same area, there was so much more definition in the wood. Like you could actually see the colors and they weren't blending into each other. Yeah, exactly. Chaotic crafting. Am I saying that right? Yes, they don't always render the same. And the only way Heaven and Earth had it offered was in the mini, and the mini was definitely not as clear, if that's the correct word. It was definitely not as clear as the one from Charting Creations. So it is the one from Charting Creations that I'm stitching. Where is it? Pattern Keeper. Oh, why does that always do that? In Pattern Keeper, if you don't hit them little arrows exactly. Oh, wait. Let's go back here. View the mock-up. Okay. Here is the mock-up of Charting Creations. Oh, these. Okay, well, like, get out of the way. There. And you can see right off the bat, it's a lot. The definition. Oh, chaotic. Ah, that's a cool name. But you can see the definition is a lot better. So this is the one that I'm stitching, and I'm dying to get back to it. But I need to finish the stockings first. Yeah, so absolutely, you got to look at the mock-ups and see, is it going to show when you're stitching it what you want it to show? Is there going to be enough clarity? Or if it's, a little pixely or not quite as defined, is it something that you're okay with? And some people, again, that's specific to individuals. Do what makes you happy. And if that's what makes you happy, again, if you weigh the clarity of a picture of the mock-up versus maybe the amount of time that it's going to take you to stitch it versus the method that you're going to use to stitch it, and look at all those factors to make the decision of which do you want. Tori, hello. Oh my goodness, it's been forever. I hope you are well. I'm glad to see you here. Haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, have they added that? Oh, I didn't realize, Christine, that on that in the library they added those. I did not realize they did that. Mirren, you don't buy minis because you don't like the lack of blending of the colors. Well, and that's another thing. In a mini, is there enough, as you put it, blending of colors to make it look like a painting? Sometimes those minis have way more pixels in them, and you don't get that effect of where everything blends into each other and makes it look like a painting. Honest to gosh, honest, my Stitchers retreat truly looks like a painting hanging on the wall. It truly, truly does. I if I have had people come into the house, and they've looked at it and they said they didn't realize it was cross stitch until I told them it was cross stitch, because it looks like a painting. Tori, you just had my first Haid finish, and you're learning to frame. Oh, good for you. Framing is not that difficult. It's just time consuming. And you're stuck on how to do the Haid you want to attempt. And what one is that you want to attempt? Maybe we can help you. Oh, I got to find my chart again so I can go back to at least stitching a couple stitches. Oh my goodness. Did I say this was a stitch with me? I think I lied. Oh my. I think I misled you all. Not intentionally. That always happens. Yes, I agree. I agree, Mirren. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And if it's and a lot of times, yes, it's the detail that we want. When I stitch one, I want it to look like a painting, because I think that's just what, well, I think that's what makes the design, in all honesty. I want it to look like a painting. And that's why, you know what? I spent a lot of time on Stitcher's Retreat. A lot of time. But in the end, it was so, so worth it. So it's, it all boils down to what you want and what you can be happy with. And for each person, that may be something, it may be something different. What I want and can be happy with might not be the same for you. But that makes us all individuals. And I think that's a good thing. I can sit here and we can do a live, and I can tell you, what works for me and what I like today and may not like tomorrow. But hopefully there's someone out there who can benefit from that, from what I like. Oh, well, let me try that. Or no, that style's just not for me. Tori, you have too many options. 2 over 1/2 on 25, 2 over 2 on 28. Do you want to do the full Haid like that, or do I just want to do my normal 18? You know what I would say? What's your go-to? Because if that's the chart I'm thinking of, it's big, and it's going to take a while. So I would say use what you are most comfortable with. Because if you don't, you might not ever finish it. That would be my best advice. Use your go-to. More and more, I'm finding that, okay, because these old eyes are not what these old eyes used to be when I was 40. I'll say when I was even 40. They're not what they were. So I'm finding myself leaning more and more towards the 20 count. I will still do 25, but my options anymore are 20 and 25. I won't go smaller than that. So again, it's go with what your comfort level is. That's my best advice. Cynthia, no, I'm not doing diagonal anymore. I'm sorry. Well, how about I say sorry, not sorry? And I shouldn't say I won't do it, because over here, I was doing diagonal, cross country within the diagonal, and I do like that. I do like that. I like that better than parking. It's the parking business that has turned me off. What I'm doing over here now is stitching mommy's method of the typewriter. The typewriter method. So if you go to her channel, and it isn't the very latest video, I think it's the one before that, where she does nothing but talk about the typewriter method. So I'm really kind of liking that, because A, you don't park, B, you work your thread until you either run out of thread or there's no more of that particular symbol. And I'm really kind of liking it. So I think if I had to pick between all the methods I have tried, and you guys that have been with me for quite a while know that, good Lord, I think I've tried almost everything. I would pick either cross country within the diagonal or this typewriter method. It would be one of the two. Parking is just, all those hanging threads is just giving me the willies anymore. And that's me. That's just me. I am a big advocate of do what makes you happy. Chaotic, you are so very right. There's no right way to stitch these, and there is no wrong way to stitch these. It is your way, and whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. And that can be totally different from everybody else. Yeah. Nicole, you are absolutely right. Stitching Mommy Sarah amazes me. She does not grid and stitches in hand. And stitching in hand, if I were to do that, I would have my fabric so wrinkled up and have to manipulate it so many ways in order to do that. And yet she rolls that up from the bottom somehow, holds that, never creases it, and stitches, and never has a grid. I can't do that. I need the grid. I need the grid to know where I am, because The grid offers me a point of reference. That I can double check that I'm on track and I'm not, I can catch a miscount or a misplacement of a thread better if I have gridded. Yeah, Cynthia. You know what? And when I first started diagonal stitching, I was doing parking. I was in love with that way. It was, I actually remember saying, oh, this is the only way I will ever stitch a Haid. Look what happened. That was 4 years ago, I think. It may even be 5 years ago now, I think. I can't remember when I first started this channel anymore. It's been so long. Yes, Sarah has some really great videos out there. She truly does. She has a really nice channel. If I get the urge to do something on a finer count, maybe I can get a project that's not a Haid. Absolutely. Absolutely. Go for a project that's not a Haid. I have, and I haven't had it out for a while. I have started Long Dog Sampler's Legal High on 36 count even weave 1/1 with a Viressois surfine. And it is, I love it. I love it. Now I have to I can't work on it for long periods of time because after a while everything just goes blurry, even with a magnifier, because it's so small. But I love it. And Ymir, if you are still here, you know it is all your fault. Ymir and her is Almond M&M, and her tiny stitches. Yeah, it's all her fault. But 36 count over 1 is probably the smallest I would do. Yeah, I have done 40 count over 1. But that was just like in a sampler where maybe the name of the person was over 1 and I did it as a half stitch. So, but to do a full cross, 36 count would be the lowest I would go. And I used a Viressois surfine, which is a lovely, lovely thread. You want to try silks, Nicole? Try them. They are wonderful to stitch with. There's all kinds of silks out there. Ymir's silks are very, very nice. Very, very nice. I got some happy mail from Ymir who let me try out some of hers, and I'm still debating on which weight I want to use. So I haven't quite decided that yet, and I want to do it for Death by Cross Stitch, and I'm just not ready to start that yet. It's going to be a little while. I'll tell you another silk that you might want to try, and there is a Facebook group called Hand Dyed Fiber Fanatics. You may want to check that out. It's Vicki Clayton, and she has some wonderful silks. They are just, yeah, I'm a fan. I used her silks when she was dyeing silk before. Then she kind of left and wasn't dyeing anymore. I think she moved on to dyeing yarn. But now she's back dyeing silks again. So You might want to check out her silks also. They are very, very nice silks to stitch with. In fact, hers were the very first silks that I ever stitched with, and I truly enjoyed them. Let's see. Cynthia, you love to do the sewing method, but not on full coverage. I wish I agree. I don't like how my X's lay when I do the sewing method. I can do it. I can do it. But I don't like how my floss lays. I cannot get it to lay as nice as my floss does when I stick and stab. So I really am a stick and stabber. Ah, gotta mark my chart here before I lose my place again. Um, yeah, I'm a stick and stabber because I do like the way my thread lays so much better when I use that method. I as much as I would love to do the sewing. Yes, Tori, you can use different methods for different projects. Yeah. Now that is one thing just to mention. Um yes, you can use different methods with different projects. But when you're stitching full coverage, you can use different methods on your full coverage. Here's another example. My Stitcher's Retreat, which I showed you just a little bit ago, has all kinds of methods in it. That was my my first Heaven and Earth design. My first full coverage since back in the 80s, which at the time didn't occur to me that they were called full coverage. Young and dumb. And it was my piece that I tried all different kinds of methods to see what I liked and what I didn't like. You know, I started out cross country. I did a bit of extreme cross country. I did stitching on the diagonal. I changed I stitched on the diagonal, but I changed the direction of the diagonal many times. I stitched in columns. I did probably any method that you could. I did not do on the diagonal by 10 by 10 squares. I did not do that one. I did not do cross country in a diagonal. But it's all on there. And in all honesty, the only way you can tell the difference is by looking at the back. You cannot tell by looking at the front. Can't tell. It all looks the same. So, you know, try different things. You can this I started out doing a bit of cross country and then I went to the diagonal. So I converted what I had done into the diagonal. And now I'm doing the stitching mommy thing. So, yeah. Okay, I'll show you. The back is a bit messy, but you know, you can't even, well, yeah, you can't even really tell. It's not perfect, but it's not horrible. Yeah, there's thread carries. But I tried to carry thread so that I would stitch over it. So try. And you know what? As long as the front looks good, does your back have to be perfect? Up to you. Again, what are you happy with? Bottom line. Bottom line. Yes, I agree with you, Missy. I think sticking and stabbing the X's look much neat for me. My X's are much neater when I stick and stab. And yes, sometimes I two-handed stitch and sometimes I one-handed stitch. So again, it's all what makes you happy. I don't always two-handed stitch because again, those of you that have been around for a while know that I had trouble with this hand and had surgery, and it's been a while, but it still gets tired faster. So I tend to switch back and forth between two-handed stitching and one-handed stitching. And again, it's called whatever makes you happy. You do what makes you happy. Okay, there. Oh, Autumn, I agree. Stitching with 3 strands. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't like stitching with 2 strands, let alone 3. And no, I have not done a chatelaine. I've not done a chatelaine. I don't know. I think they're beautiful. I've seen some. Well, I've seen many pictures. I've seen a few in real life, but in all honesty, they haven't intrigued me enough to try stitching one. I don't know why. I think it's probably because I have so much stuff like this that I want to stitch. Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. I know how to do specialty stitches. Yeah, I know how to do them. But I don't know that I truly enjoy doing them. I personally, again, everybody's different. I personally enjoy just doing a simple little X and paint with my thread. That's where I get my pleasure, and I think it's because doing an X, I find, gets very rhythmic, and it's that rhythmic that makes it very relaxing. And that is where I find my joy. And again, everybody's different. So you need to decide what brings you joy. What are you happy with? For me, it's just these simple little X's and placing them where they need to be placed. Oh, phooey. Here we go. There we go. Okay. I'm soon ready to end this thread. Do I use a A snag nabbit. You bet your boots I do. I don't know where I'd be without a snag nabbit. Every now and again, a stitch will not lay quite right or will puff up like it shouldn't. And yeah, that snag nabbit comes right out and puts that puppy right back where it belongs. Or you pull up a little tail, and those are great for putting those tails right back where they belong on the back side. So yes, I use a snag nabbit. I have several of them. I keep one in my stitching that I take with me if I'm going anywhere and know that I'm going to be able to stitch. I have one here in my porch, which is my stitching room. I have one at my stitching area in the living room. So, yeah, I would not be without a snag nabbit. So, I know what I wanted to ask you guys. I have a question. And I thought of it earlier when someone asked me about Teresa Little Stitcher. But has anyone seen or heard anything on Needle Ninja lately? I have not seen a video from her in quite a while. I was getting a little worried about her, but I didn't have a way other than to put a message, "Oh, hello, Miss Daisy." I didn't have a way to get a hold of her other than to put a note on her video, her last video, which, you're phooey. You're not always guaranteed that she's going to see. So has anybody seen or heard from her? Oh, geez, now my needle come unthread, and I hate when it's short like this. There we go. No, I thought I had it. There we go. Oh. No, I was a little worried about her. I hope she's okay. There we go. So I had not and was wondering about it yourself. Yeah. Yeah, it just seems so unlike her to not be posting a video. Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody know how to get in contact with her? Other than putting a message on her last video. That would be the only thing I know to do. Yeah, I was just curious. So if anybody hears from her or sees a video from her, let me know. I just hope she's okay. It's a subject I don't know that I want to get into on here, but just to say that with everything that's going on in the world today, it causes me to worry about a lot of people. And I have some of my own thoughts on things, and I don't know that this is necessarily the place because I don't want my channel to be about it. But I will say that for all our Ukrainian friends, I am worried about all of our stitching friends in Ukraine, and I send a lot of thoughts and prayers to you. And I am worried about our Russian friends who are against and not in agreement with what is going on. But that being said, that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want this channel to turn into anything like that. I really try and avoid political things and those types of things, but I just do want those people in harm's way to know that we are thinking of them and hoping for the best for them. So, enough of that. Back to stitching, my friends. Linda, Needle Ninja, have you heard anything from her or about her? I want to say, where is she from? Why do I want to say she's in the why do I want to say she's in the Philippines, maybe? I'm not sure. But I just, like I said, she hasn't been around for a while, and yeah, Linda, Needle Ninja. I again just hope that she's okay, because I know a lot of us have been wondering and kind of worried, and it would be, and maybe life just has gotten in her way that. Oh, you think she lives in Japan? Okay. Okay. You know what? Now that you say that, I think that's right. I think that's right. So I just hope she's okay. Um, yeah. You get to know people from being on FlossTube, and from putting out the videos, and other people that put out videos, and yourself putting out videos, and you get to, it's a great community. And when someone goes missing, um, you worry. You worry about them, because they're all family. I mean, everybody is like family. In fact, that reminds me when I tell my husband, "Well, hello, Heather." Um, oh, that's so nice of you to say. That's so. Thank you for your kind words. You'll get it finished in your lifetime. You'll be able to do that. Um, it reminded me of something my husband said when I say, "Oh, I'm going to go do a video." He looks at me. He says, "Oh, are you going to go talk to your peeps?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go talk to my peeps." So from now on, I guess I'm going to have to say, "Hello, my peeps." It just was just cute. He says, "Oh, you're going to do a video for your peeps." Makes me laugh. Makes me laugh. So, Heather, you'll get Stitcher's Retreat done in your lifetime. But yes, the whole thing is, you know what? Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. It's a really fun stitch. I loved stitching it. I mean, I wanted it done. Believe me, I was on a mission. I was on a mission to get it done. So yeah, but just enjoy what you're doing. Debbie, you have a question. You're working on two 25 count even weave heights. So is there more to that? Tori, you have YouTube and Discord. Yeah. I do have a Discord, folks. I have to look up the the link. Oh, words. Um, if anyone's interested in joining that, just shoot me a message and I will send you an invite. Um, what happened was in my streaming software, I had all of that set up and I had an end screen with all that information on it. And I bought a new Mac Mini, the M1 Mac Mini. I got rid of my laptop because, as you all know, we were having troubles. Every time I turned around, there was another trouble with my laptop. So I traded that on an M1 Mac Mini. But when I transferred my streaming software onto the Mac Mini, I lost all my setup. So I had to reset up all my scenes and all my overlays and all of that stuff. So I have to go back in and find my Discord. Twitch Stitch. Yes, I really need to join in there, Tori. I keep forgetting about it. Do you still stream on Twitch? I'm debating if I want to do that also. I'm not sure. I was having troubles. I didn't quite understand everything before. Daisy, you got your nerd stand. It arrived. Well, I am glad that I could enable you. Yeah. Oh, when I first read your comment on thanks for nothing, I wasn't sure if you were being sarcastic or if you were joking. So I finally stepped back and thought about it and said, oh no, she's just joking. That's why I posted you're welcome and this is where you can order them. Oh, was I? See, I don't. Senior moments. I have senior moments. Okay. Oh, you got the hoop. Okay, did you get the wood hoop or the plastic hoop? They're both wonderful. They're both wonderful. I missed a question up here. Yvonne, I used Pattern Keeper for Stitcher's Retreat. Pattern Keeper. Yeah. I think I might have started out with paper because Stitcher's Retreat wasn't quite out. Not Stitcher's Retreat. I might have started out with paper because Pattern Keeper wasn't quite out yet when I started. So, but as soon as Pattern Keeper came out, it went in there and I stitched that way. Debbie, how do you remove the grid? You wash it. In really warm water. And that's what dissolves the grid. If you're using the Zweigart with the gray grid, you have to really soak it for a long time to get it out. And you need to keep the water warm. But that will remove it because That's what I did Stitcher's Retreat on, and it did remove all of the grid. Now, granted, um, I didn't have any light colors on that. So even if it all didn't come out, you weren't going to notice it. But if you have light colors, you want to really soak it for a good amount of time so that all of that gray comes out. And it takes a while. It does take a while. It's not something that is going to remove the grid in 15 minutes. You might have to let it soak, a good hour or more. So, yeah, just soak it. Daisy, plastic hoop. Yes, this plastic hoop. You know what? Let me know how you like it. Um, it is. It's a lot easier to hold than a Q-snap. It's a lot lighter. Now, this size, which is the number, where does it have the number? I can't remember. I think this is the number, the bigger one. If I'm holding it, it's a little bit big. I use the next smallest one. I have the very small one, I have the next smallest one, and I have this size. And I use one that's it's not this big. And that one is just perfect for me to hold. This one is just a little bit big, but it's great to have in my stand. And right now, today, I'm using my Patoki stand. This is let's see if I can get it for you. Dun, da, da, da. This is the Patoki Mini. It's the same one that Country Stitchers has one that they're doing a giveaway with. So I do like that. I have not gotten. I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for my Patoki floor stand. Yeah, still waiting. Yeah. Funny you should mention that, Jody. Yeah, I talked to them. 2 weeks ago, and they told me that it was being sent for shipping and that Mikal had put it in the queue for shipping, and he thought it would ship the end of that week or the next week, and I think now I'm a week past that. So I'm still waiting to hear, but at least it's ready. It's in the process to be shipped, as far as I know. Now, the thing that concerns me, and I'm not sure how, when I look on the Patoki website, it says that they are located in the Czech Republic. But even giving that, I'm not sure, if at all, if what's going on in Ukraine will affect shipping from the Czech Republic. I've tried to search that on the internet, and I really can't find anything. It tells me requirements to ship, what the Czech Republic requires to be able to ship something to the United States, but it doesn't tell me if it's if they're able, if there are, say, flights going out of the Czech Republic, that things that are put for shipping are actually moving in that process. So your Patoki shipped January 26th. No tracking updates since, Tori. You worried about recent events to prevent it from arriving. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. Mine hasn't actually shipped. For some reason, I know that the world events between pandemic, between what's going on today, have certainly affected things throughout the entire world. And I understand, and I don't mean what I'm about to say in a derogatory sense, but I paid for my stand back in September with the understanding, with the comment that it was going to ship shortly after that. Well, that was September. So now we've passed October, November, December, January, February, March. We're in March. So I paid for my stand almost 6 months ago, and it still hasn't shipped. Like I said, I understand. I understand that with the pandemic and all the restrictions and everything else. But now I'm worried, is shipping actually going to happen with all the events of the world today? So I want my stand. I want to be able to use it for at least a little while I'm still here. No, I plan on being here a good long time yet. Yeah. So I don't know, Tori. Let me know if you hear any updates. Yeah, 6 months ago. 6 months. Just about. It'll be 6 months. Well, it will actually be 6 months this week that I paid for it. So, yeah, Yvonne, I have a Lowry, and that's what I have behind me here in this room. What I wanted to do is put my... I wanted to put my Patoki stand over here and my Lowry stand in the living room because that will take up less space. Yeah, I know. It takes over a year. Yeah. And I'm not upset about the time. It's a wonderful stand. It's worth every penny. It was processed. Oh, Tori, yours was processed at a Ukraine facility on January 26th, right before everything. Oh, my gosh. Did my stand blow up? Oh. Yeah, now I'm going to really bite my nails. Oh, now I'm really worried. That's okay. The one I have took not near that long. I don't remember exactly. It took more than the 12 weeks that they originally said. So 12 weeks is 3 months. It may have taken about 6 months. But I don't remember exactly because I got it quite a while ago. But this is the floor stand. I got the M4 floor stand, which is the one, if you watch Luda, Stitching with Luda. It's the what she did a video on hers, and it's exactly like the one that she got. That sits aside of your wherever you're sitting, and then the arm comes over from the side to hold your hoop. It does not hold it. It holds Q snaps or hoops. It does not hold scroll frames, but I don't work on a scroll frame. Oh, that's a good idea. The Yeti mic boom arm from Amazon, along with the small rig clamp. Ooh, I might have to check that out. And can hold up to 3 pounds. Now I can stitch in any position I want. Wow. A mic boom arm from Amazon, along with a small rig clamp. I have to, Tori, send me a link for those, would you? You can send it in my or put it on Discord. Oh, good. Then I'll check that out. I'll check that out on the Discord. Awesome. Yeah. So, well, how many stitches? Oh, I want to tell you, it was a bumper day, guys. I actually stitched 50 stitches in the last, how long have I been on stream? 2 hours and 12 minutes. One of these times we should have a we should have a countdown. How many stitches can Karen stitch during a live stream? Well, it's kind of like Carla, Stitchy Witch. She doesn't get much stitching done either. I'll tell you what, it's just more fun for me to sit and have a chat with all of you guys, because you know what? It's all about you. Which reminds me, I did a really short video after my last upload. I did a short live that lasted, what? Just a minute or two. I wanted to mention it here also. What I'd like to do on my channel, whether it be a pre-recorded video or a live video, what I would love to do is to highlight one of my subscribers. So I'm going to call it Subscriber Highlight. And I can set that up to do in a live, and I can, of course, do it in a pre-recorded one. But what I'd like to do is, if you would send me a picture of a project that you're working on so that we can highlight that project, and then tell me a little bit of how you're stitching it, what count fabric, are you stitching it full cross, are you stitching it 10 stitch, the specifics for that, and a little bit about yourself so that I can highlight you as a stitcher. So if you would be interested in being highlighted, send me that information. You can send it to my email. And here here would be my email. Where'd it go? Hello? Where'd it go? Oh, good Lord. Ah, there we go. Hold it. I have to. Oh. Okay, now I'm really messing with you, ain't I? There would be my email address. Hi, Liv. How are you? How's that little girl of yours? Okay, it's not wanting to come to the front, so we'll just let it like that because we're not stitching right now anyway. Um, yeah. So if you'd be interested in being highlighted as one of my subscribers and stitchy friends, uh, just send me the information and um, and we will do that. I think everybody deserves a chance to be recognized for their work, whether they have a YouTube channel or not. So if you would like to be recognized, and it will just be a little short thing to say, hey, this is one of the subscribers. This is what they're working on. This is how they're doing it, and this is just a little bit about that person. So I hope a lot of you want to participate in that. And like I said, just send me an email to that email address, and I will start doing that with my next video. And especially if you finish something. Oh, Nicole, you're too funny. You're going to show me your Hot Mess Express 32 count. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether it's a hot mess or not, send it. Yeah, send it. No big deal. It's yours. Be proud of it. Be absolutely proud of it. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So, yeah, let's look at doing that. And I hope a lot of you decide to participate in that because it will be a fun thing. You guys make or help to make what this channel is. And it's my way to say thank you for being who you are and participating in this channel and, joining me in these lives, commenting on videos I make. It's I enjoy giving you the tips of, hey, maybe try this or try that, or this is how I do this. Maybe it will work for you. Sure, that's what it's all about. So this can be my way to give back to you. Oh, I only have 2 eyes and 2 hands. It would be hard to read your chart and stitch while reading the chat at the same time. I know, it is. It gets very hard to stitch and read my chat at the same time. But I try to keep flipping between the two. So, sometimes I get behind and sometimes I don't. And I keep moving this thing around here because I'm playing with the let's see if I can make this a little smaller. Yeah, here we go. Let's put this down here. We can bring this back in. And of course I could switch the screen. Dry mouth. So, those of you that are interested, you have my email here. um, just drop me a note. Try harder. I do try. I really do try. But like I said, it's my way. I really want to give back to all of you. Yeah, because you guys make this channel. It's your participating and your um, coming by to watch, whether you're watching or you're here for a live or whatever. It's what you guys do that help make this channel what it is. And God only knows I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. And you are all, every last one of you, all my friends. Um, as my husband said, you're all my peeps. I thought that was so darn cute that he called you my peeps. It is what it is. So I'm going to switch back cameras here. Oh, got to get rid of this one. Say goodbye. And I think since we have now been here for oh my goodness, almost 2.5 hours. Let's get this out of the way too. Yeah, no, Linda, it's hard to read chat and stitch at the same time. God knows I try, but hey, I got 50 stitches in. What more do you want? Next time we'll have to try and make it a marathon to see how many I can stitch and still keep up. So, with that, guys, it is now, I don't know what time it is where you people are, but it is now almost 12:30. Time for me to get a little lunch because my stomach says feed me. So I think with that, we're going to call it a day. I will probably... Margaret, hello. Geez, I'm just about to sign off. I'm sorry. Stitchy woman, you got some time in painting and some stitching done. Good for you. I got 50 stitches done. 50. That might be a record. Okay, so with that, I think I am going to say goodbye for now. I will see you, what's today? Thursday. I will see you next week. I am and have it almost finished. You guys have asked for a video on different fabrics, and I have that almost together. So I will be probably recording that for Tuesday next week. And I will do a live again Thursday, same time, same station. And if you have questions then about the fabric video, we can talk about that on the live next time. So with that, I am going to say goodbye. Find your joy and stay safe for all of you that may be in harm's way, and know that, yes, we are thinking about you and hoping things have a good outcome very soon. So all of you take care, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.